Welcome to Reunite with Self podcast. I'm your host, Rukan. Here, we will be discovering and unraveling what is truly holding you back. We will put the puzzle together and give you clarity on how and what you can do to create massive shift in your life so you start creating the life you always envisioned for yourself. There is no more waiting. Whether it is liberating from dysfunctional family patterns or parenting tools and tips that actually make the difference, we will be diving into the truth and core of things that are simple and which yet no one talks about. I will be sharing with you all the things that would have changed my life massively if I heard any one of these episodes. A new world is awakening, and true bliss, harmony, and peace is possible on this earth. And my mission is to bring you closer to that, one step at a time. In this safe space, I will hold your hand and give you courage and certainty that you can shift anything and everything in your life. It is time we break the pattern. Whether you want to be the parent you never had or make a shift in your life so you don't play small any longer, you will find the support and guidance in this space. My intention is for you to find answers within yourself while you listen to this podcast, so you feel the bliss of reuniting with your true essence, with self, with so much love and compassion and courage. From my heart to yours, let's keep it rockin'. My gorgeous listener, welcome to another episode on Reunite with Self. I'm so happy and grateful that you are here. I'm so happy, grateful that you're tuning into this episode. So if you have any kind of resistance with a family member, listen up to this episode. If you have any kind of struggle on maybe why they don't understand you in something in any area, or they don't believe in you, you feel like they don't believe in me, you feel like I'm not comfortable sharing my desires with this person or my fears with this person fully, being like very feeling safe and open while sharing any of your desires or fears, or both. If you feel like they have really broken me in the past, please listen up. My intention with this podcast mainly is two things: to support, and like doing this in several different ways, but the two things, the two types of people I really want to reach is, first of all, they're all being highly sensitive, empathic, compassionate, open-hearted humans, but also them either not being aware that there is actually narcissistic tendency in certain family members, or they are aware of narcissistic tendency in someone in their family and they don't know what to do about it. The reason that I decided a full yes with my body, decided to create this podcast and share everything that I know, that I'm learning, all the wisdom that I apply in my own life and how I shifted my life, the ways in which I shifted my life was because I realized that this one truth, this one moment in time when I put the puzzle together, like there was actually a bigger picture in what I was experiencing. When I saw that, let's say picture, puzzle, whatever, when I realized that, and when I realized that the only thing that stopped me from shifting my life way before was because this stuff that I talk about here is never talked, is never discussed, never. Like I never heard anything like this so clearly. I thought narcissism had to be a very extreme story, but no, it's very common and it's every day. In every family I've met, actually, I know that there is a narcissist. So the reason that I wanted to create this podcast is to reach the ones that are struggling in their lives in any area, in any way. They might be thriving in their business or the way they create abundance, but they're not happy in their relationships, maybe in their romantic life, or they are having a wonderful romantic relationship or partnership, a marriage, whatever it is, but they're not realizing their full potential, and they don't know their path yet. They haven't started the path. Maybe they have started, but they're struggling to create abundance, and they don't feel fulfilled eventually. Or maybe things seem to be fine, but they don't feel fulfilled inside. They know that there is another level that they desire, that they deserve, and that is possible, but they're not seeing the progress yet, that they're going in that direction. The more it looks as if everything is fine, the more it looks as if you're supposed to be happy with your life, that you have so much than others, is sometimes the trickier it gets. Like, this scenario has a lot of challenge as well. This scenario has, I don't know, I don't want to compare, but I just want to say someone not having things is visibly challenging. But we sometimes don't see the scenario in which everything looks from outside normal, maybe even perfect, in air quotes. So, there is not real reason for that person to be unfulfilled or unhappy or discontent, or that there is narcissism in their family that is really causing a lot in them. We don't necessarily see that. And that's why people do not find the courage and the clarity to make a huge shift in their lives while they're in that scenario. Because when they, meet up with their friends, with their relatives, with their family, it seems as if, from a very non-sensitive way, that at least there is not much of a big problem. Or sometimes when we see a family, someone's immediate family, when we look at that, not the family that they have created, but the family that they come from, when we look at that family, if that family looks as if, they've got everything, they're happy, they're close, so they have abundance, that people seem to be independent, that they have, they can do anything they want, nobody's stopping them, that it's like it's a loving and supportive environment. It looks as if like this. I want to reach out to these people so much, because I have a lot of people, I've met a lot of people in my life, of course, and I come from Turkey, the Middle East. This is even higher in the Middle East, but I know that I have a lot of friends from the US, from everywhere, all around the world. And when I hear a woman or a man talk about, like my friends talk about their problems or their struggles or their hesitations or anything that is causing them pain, that they're not living up to their potential, I see one common thing always: that there is narcissism in their family. One of the parents most probably has had narcissistic behavior when they were growing up. And the worst part is the other parent was not supporting the child in the best way that was necessary, because that other parent doesn't really know what narcissist is, like doesn't know, that other parent doesn't know why the other parent is causing so much pain in the child. They think it's because they are angry, they are stressed, they have a lot of things going on, or it's just their personality, they're like that, but they do not clearly see, they don't have the courage, first of all, and there's other dynamics in it. They're not stepping up to their game while they're in that narcissistic relationship. Most probably they are receiving some kind of narcissism from there too. Not necessarily always. I've seen different dynamics in family, but the narcissist always has a target from their kids. Sometimes all of them in different ways, or sometimes just one of them more. And the other parent doesn't know how to support. So it gets even like tenfold, because the child, whenever the child becomes a teenager, whatever, whenever they want to ask for support, they don't get the support that is necessary. And this clarity that I have figured out in my life, like what is really happening in a narcissistic relationship, what is really happening when someone who has a narcissistic tendency brings about life into the world when they become parents. What happens? What are they doing? Why are they doing it? And what is the system in that? Why are they doing it? I'm not talking about that they're stressed or angry, or I'm not talking about this. The why. There is energy stealing in there. And I'm talking about narcissism. I'm not talking about someone specific. I'm not interested if someone loves you or not, if they have good intention, or like I don't like this conversation. I don't care about this. That's not like, it's not about pointing fingers at someone, but it's about being clear from a very centered way. Seeing the truth with clarity and with courage, a lot of courage. So it's like this dark energy. Narcissism I see as this dark energy. And when the person who is being abused by the narcissist in any shape or form, if you are one of their targets, you are abused. No matter what the relationship is, but I talk about the family always because everything starts there, and then it turns out to be your romantic partner is a narcissist, your friends are narcissists, your coworkers, your boss, your neighbor, the people you run into all the time, repetitively. So it all starts in the family, and the reason that the other stuff is happening is because our soul, the inner child, the parts of us wants to see that truth. If we look into that, and if we're clear about it, and if we take the actions to have the clear boundaries, be certain about them, even though we might feel guilt sometimes, all the things, but still be in our path, choose to be in our path now, choose to be in true love, and act from a place of self-love, like truly, with no tolerance for any dark energy that is not necessary, your life starts changing massively. But this is a journey, and I went through this journey of seeing the whole thing. I'm still learning so much, but I have found the gold in the dark, and I have found my gift in my pain. So my intention is to reach many people that struggle in any areas of their lives, or maybe in several areas, but it doesn't seem that way from the outside. It matters how you feel inside, because you know your potential and you know your truth, and you are in that energy. No one from outside, like you don't need anyone's confirmation from outside to tell you if there is narcissism in the family, or if there is a problem or not, or if your situation is challenging or not, or whatever. My intention is to reach the ones that have no idea that there is narcissistic tendency in their families. And also my intention is to reach to the people that know one of their parents or both or other relatives as well, that's a consequence too. Like you always have more than one narcissist in the family and in different ways, techniques, areas, personalities. And this person might not know like what to do about it. Because there is like no tools, like no specific tools that we hear. Not so much right now. So that's why I am doing this podcast to support you in the best way, in a loving way that will support you to start creating your incredible life. So, my gorgeous listener, if you are having any kind of challenges with maybe one of your parents, maybe with your mom, with your dad, maybe with both in different ways, maybe as a consequence of this, these are the consequences. So if you are having challenges in your work life, in your business, in your romantic relationship or relationships in that area, maybe in your marriage, maybe around finding the right friends and surrounding yourself with people that truly support you. These are the consequences of something. And when you read the topic of this episode, if you have any kind of resistance with a family member, so right now as an adult, you might not have huge problems with this person. I really want to speak into this as well, because there is a whole lot of people in this circumstance where they have kind of a good relationship with, let's say it's one parent. They have a good relationship. They have, it seems as if they have good communication. They spend time together. They share things with them. They're not like fighting or anything. The parent is not saying the big stuff anymore. Maybe they've done it in the past. This is why, like, it's supposed to be like this for it to work. My intention is to reach as many people as possible who need to hear this stuff. But a part of you know that this person had really broken you with some words in some areas of your life in the past. You know that you are not truly comfortable in any of this. So you can pick any of this, or you might be experiencing all of this. It doesn't matter. Or with this parent, you are not fully comfortable. Like you would do it if you wanted to, but you wouldn't, leaving that conversation, you wouldn't really feel relaxed in your body and like expansive, like your heart is opening, that your chest is up, that your heart is opening. I am describing the feelings in your body. So because your body tells you how you feel around someone. Let's say around with this parent, if you share your true desires about your life, maybe you haven't seen it manifesting yet, but your true desires, like maybe what you want to do with your life, maybe how you want to feel doing your work. Maybe you are not doing that work yet, but your intention is to feel this sort of way, or do this support for I don't know, whatever cause. I'm talking about like your deep, true desires. Your deep, true desires, you don't necessarily need to share with everyone that is close to you. That's another subject we can talk about on another episode. But what I want to say is, it seems as if your relationship with your family is close, or the sabotage, the abuse, the energy stealing, whatever it is not totally clear for you right now. That's the scenario I'm talking about. So, but you wouldn't feel totally comfortable if you shared your fears with them. You would feel even worse, maybe, about yourself. Not just life, about yourself, like your true potential, your way of thinking, like whatever it is. You would not feel good if you shared with them. A tone of voice. I'm talking about like small stuff. It has to be this small. Depending on your nature, your intelligence, your psyche, your story has to be exactly the same, exactly that way for it to work, for narcissism to work. It has to be exactly the same way. So I'm talking about this scenario where with that parent, when you spend time now, it doesn't seem like there's a huge resistance. They seem to be even like very loving to you. They seem supportive. But this is how you feel. You would not feel so comfortable being yourself authentically in every area. Maybe if the topic at the table is something where they have broken you before, you know that they will break you again if you tell your truth, like your authentic truth, and maybe even something that you're passionate about. You would not feel like you're expanding. You can shine bright and be safe. This is what I'm talking about. And they do this with small things. That's why it works. With a tone of voice, with a facial expression, with the way they say something, just one word. They don't need to say, how stupid are you? Like, they don't need to say it like this anymore. Because whatever was supposed to be done was done in the past. Those buttons were put there. So they just do a reference now, which takes you to that. You know exactly what they're thinking from the way they look at you, from a sigh, from a seemingly simple question, from a seemingly simple comment, from a simple act when other people are around as well. Like, you know what it is for you. I want you to be honest with yourself about this and be clear about this. And not because I want you to feel angry towards them. Your anger will create miracles for sure, but it's not going to help you just sitting down and like thinking about this. It's not going to do you any good. You have to use that anger to make a huge shift in your life. That anger is precious, but it's not about, oh, they did this, they did that, and let's just get angry and not do anything about it. That's like, that kills you inside. That's not what we want. I want you to use that anger and all of the other emotions to make a huge shift, because that anger will save your life. It's there to save you. But as I was explaining, like when we look at this, let's say your scenario is more or less like this around this parent. Given your psyche, your intelligence, your nature, if they were acting in a very absurd way right now, like more extreme, in a more extreme way, behavior, words, it would not work anymore. That's why it's not happening that way. Or your parent might still be very extreme. And maybe it's going to tone down, by the way, depending on your age too. Maybe it's going to tone down by time and you're going to think that they have changed. But it has to be that way, my friend. It has to be that way for it to work. Maybe they are being extreme with you right now, and that's how it's going to work for you now. And maybe it's going to tone down a little bit in time for it to work. That's the way. It's not because they have changed, like that narcissism has changed. Narcissism doesn't change. The way they behave might change, of course. But narcissism doesn't change, especially if there is nothing done about it. You know, it's just like the person is just living the same way without getting very deep support around this. Deep support. I've never seen that example, so narcissists don't really take a lot of supports. They might go to therapy, once here and there, but they don't necessarily. And like it's a different topic. We're gonna talk about that in another episode. I mean, they might be going to the therapist every week and telling lies and telling the story in a much different way. I'm not gonna go into that now. But I want to say, your story is exactly that way. It has to be that way for it to work. So please, I'm just telling you all of this so you don't minimize what's happening. If there is any challenge in your life right now as an adult, it's a very, very good idea to look back at your parents. It's a very good idea. There might be narcissism there. The narcissism might still be going on, and that's why you're playing small right now to actually to feel safe and to protect yourself from the predator, let's say, so they don't see you as competition, whatever. The way they have broken you, it all serves something in narcissism. If you are having any kind of resistance with any family member and you are an adult now, it's a very good idea to look to see with an open heart from your center, with honesty, looking back at your past with this parent. I'm talking about the parent again. It can be anyone in your family. Looking at your past, what happened with them, what were the patterns, and how was it affecting you when you were 2 years old, 3 years old? If you look from a child's perspective as you were a teenager, how you were seeing them and what they were doing, and how it was affecting you and how you were feeling around that. Were you getting the support that you needed from the other parents? What was happening when you asked for support? What was happening when you were feeling really challenging emotions? What was happening around you? Like, were you getting the support? Were you being heard by someone in the family? Were you feeling seen and heard by anyone in the family? Were you supported in that way, even though there might be narcissism, from one person? And how is your relationship now? You have to, how can I explain this? I'm talking about such subtle things that it has to be that subtle now for it to work. It's a great way to look at this. I think the best way to look at this is looking at your life now. What's happening in your life now? Where are you struggling? Where are you struggling the most? Where do you think that you can go to the next level for sure? Like, that's what you desire. That's what you deserve. You know you have the potential, but there is a resistance there. That's a great way to look at what's actually happening in that relationship. If you have resonated with anything I have said in this episode, I suggest and I kindly ask you to look at the episodes before this, or maybe you're running into this way later, but please go back to the other episodes, and from their titles, you can tell if it resonates with you or not. And just start listening. If it doesn't resonate with you, just leave it. But if there is anything that resonates with you, that your inner child feels seen, that there is something there that you're drawn into, you will listen to it more. So I'm here for you. You can always DM me with any of your questions. Maybe you started thinking about your life and you have a question, you want to know how you can tell what you can do about it and where it might be coming from and what you can do today to protect yourself and maybe still have a great relationship with that person, by the way. It depends on your story. We all have billions and billions of different stories. It all depends on your story. I would love to support you. You can always DM me your questions. So you can't send a message to me through the podcast, but I have my Instagram handle in the show notes below. It's Kavela. It's my fashion brand. It's my goddess wear brand. Just click on there on my Instagram. You can DM me with your question. I will know it's about the podcast, and I would love to do an episode based on your question. I love you so much. You've got this. I love you. I will see you on the next one. My gorgeous listener, if you had any takeaways from this episode or from this podcast in general, I would love to know. Please share this episode with a few loved ones right now. You never know how they can benefit from something so small. And please take a screenshot of this episode and share on IG, tagging me at Khewella. That is Khewella. Khewella. That is my goddess wear brand, my Instagram page. I would love to know what your takeaway was, or something you found inspirational, or a confirmation you believe in as well. That would make my day. And you can always DM me if you have a topic or a certain question in mind that you want me to talk about. And give me a 5-star rating if you feel like it. That would help this podcast immensely to get the word out. I love you. See you on the next one. I want to see you shine your brightest.